Welcome back. My name is Juditha, and on this channel, we talk about all things mindset. We talk about your fears, we talk about your doubts, the uncertainty, the impatience, all of those things that come along when you're trying to create your dream life, because I'm trying to do the same thing. So, with that being said, today we are going to talk about a very important topic, okay? This is the reason why you're lazy. This is why you can't find the motivation, the inspiration. This is why you lack discipline. This is why you never do the things that you say you're gonna do. This is why you have a fear of trying and a fear of just failure in general. And that is because you are not intentional about what you are feeding your brain. Okay, that is the simple answer to cure most of this. Everything that you're going through that I just listed, if you resonate with any of that, this is how you're going to cure it. You are going to be more intentional about what you are feeding your brain. And don't worry, because we're going to get into exactly what I mean by that. So when I say feeding your brain, I'm literally just talking about the things that you are giving to your brain on a daily, the content you're consuming, the books you are or aren't reading, the TV you're watching, the people you're around, like everything that your brain is taking on a daily, like that is influencing who you are. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is this is how your brain works, okay? When it comes to creating habits, when it comes to creating routines that you actually need to be able to do the things that you say you want to do, the only way that you are going to adapt new habits easily is by feeding your brain a new action. Okay, that is the way how you create a new habit. And that is how you create routines that are healthy. That is how you stick to your workouts. That is how you stick to your work schedule. That is how you make sure that you are actually being productive. You have to make sure that what you are feeding your brain isn't the same behaviors over and over. Okay, because that's insanity. To do the same things over and over and expect a different result, like it's just never going to happen. So when I say feed your brain new behaviors, what I mean is you are accustomed to doing things, the things that you have always done. Your brain is accustomed to it. Your brain has literally learned who you are, learned the patterns that you have. Like your route home from work, you have taken it so much, you could probably do it without even being very conscious of it, without having to think about the next turn. You just know, right? Your brain, the neurons in your brain, how they work is they wire together. When you repeat a behavior, when you repeat a thought, when you repeat a belief, your brain is memorizing that. It's wiring, literally is wiring together the neurons, and that is the same pattern that you use to move about in this world. Like that is how you are figuring things out as you go, is because your brain is relying on the information that you've already fed it, by the actions that you've already fed it. So that is why when you go home from work and you're someone who usually watch TV, you scroll on Instagram, you eat terribly, like if you've been doing that for years, if you've been doing it for months, like your brain is going to memorize that. And that's why when one day when you come home from work and you tell yourself, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, I actually want to work out when I come home from work, I want to eat healthy, like that's why when you say it, you might stick to the habit for like a week, maybe even two, maybe even a month. Like I'll give you a month. So let's say you stick to it for a month and then you go back to the same habit over and over. It's because for some time you were feeding yourself the new behavior. And if you stick to feeding the new behavior, no matter how many times you fall off, if you stick to feeding your brain that new behavior, eventually the new behavior will become the norm, because your brain will rewire itself to say, oh, actually, when we get home from work, we work out. When we get from home from work, we work out and we eat healthy. So that is how you rewire your brain to not do the things that you've always done. Like if you feel like you've been stuck on the couch like every weekend, that is just because that is what you're used to doing. Like your brain hears weekend and hears couch. And that's why it's hard. So you have to be aware that the reason why I feel stuck, the reason why I can't adapt these new habits, why I can't wake up earlier, why I can't stick to this routine of working out, the reason why is because I have to consistently feed my brain the new behavior. And every time I give up, I'm setting myself back. But something I want you to remember is you're not looking for perfection. When you want to start a new habit, it's not about perfection. It is about consistency. It is about repetition. Okay. So all that really matters is that even if you don't get up every day, can you at least commit to getting up 3 times a week to get up and work out? Can you commit to at least 4 times a week reading one page out of a book, like one paragraph, one sentence? Like I said, it's not about perfection. It doesn't even have to really make sense to other people. If you want to start reading one sentence a day, it seems as if like that's not doing anything for you. But I promise you, if you came home and you read one sentence out of a book every day, eventually your brain will get used to reading, no matter how little it is. Eventually that habit will stick, and you'll, without even having to be told, like you'll come home, you'll shower, you'll pick up a book, and you won't even have to think about it anymore. Of course, as time goes on, one sentence turns to two, turns to three, turns to a page, to five, like it will add up. So in the beginning, when you're trying to start any habits, any new routines, like stop trying to do so many things at once. Like don't think that you're going to wake up tomorrow with a whole routine that consists of you waking up early, working out, meditating, journaling. Like if you've never had a routine like that in your life, like it's crazy to think that you'll wake up tomorrow and be that person. And for a day, it might work. It might even work for 2 days, for a week. But after that, you are going to get tired of it, because change that is abrupt is change that is not going to stick. Okay. My sister told me that the other day, and I told her I was going to steal it. So I'm letting you guys borrow it too. Just remember that any change that comes on very quickly, like that change is not going to stick. You have to gradually introduce your brain to something new so that you actually stick to it. Like you have to convince your brain that it's easy in order for it to do it. And the only way you convince your brain that it's easy is by making the task like so small that it's laughable. Like with the book example, reading one sentence a day sounds like, what? Like why would I do that? Like that sounds like nothing. And it is. And because it sounds like nothing, you should do it easily, right? And you would think so, but I bet even if you gave yourself the task to read one sentence a day, I bet that you would still forget to. I bet that you will still be too lazy to. I bet that you will still put it off in some way, right? So you have to find the best way to convince your brain that this task is actually going to be easy. Like I can make it easy. I can make it fun. I can make it smooth. I can make it a normal part of my day. Like you have to feed your brain that new behavior in order for it to stick. And it doesn't matter how many times you fall off. If you want to change, you also have to just commit to, yes, I'm going to fall off. Like it's likely, I'm human, it happens, but I'm not going to give up. Like every time I'm aware that I fall off, I'm going to figure out exactly how to get back on. Whether it's that I talk to someone to motivate me, whether it's that I change up my routine because maybe the one I had just isn't serving me anymore. Just be committed to trying. Like be committed to trying no matter how many times you stop. It doesn't matter how many times you've tried in the past. Like today's a new day. Try again, okay? So the second thing I want you to remember about your brain is that when it comes to a lack of motivation, a lack of inspiration, like when you are not doing the things that you know you need to do, especially when it's things that will change your life, like when that's not happening, then you need to feed your brain something or some things that will motivate you to work. Like you have to feed your brain things that will create that motivation for you. You can't just think that doing the things that you've always done is going to magically make you motivated to do new things. Like it's just not going to happen. So how do you create it? The best way, my way, is by the content you consume. Okay. Like I preach this in, I know a lot of my other videos and podcasts. Like you have to be very intentional about the content you consume. Okay. Because if you are watching TV, if you are watching reality TV all the time, if you are listening to podcasts that are only about celebrity gossip most of the time, if you are scrolling on Instagram and none of that is anything that's like helping you make any mindset shifts, none of that is inspiring you to get up and do anything, then of course you're not going to have motivation. Like you're just not. Like I notice myself, like I have the lowest motivation when I'm not listening to podcasts, when I'm not listening to YouTube videos, like when I'm not listening to content that is actually inspiring me or teaching me something. It also helps if I listen to like the stories of other people who have been where I once was or who are currently living the life that I want to live. Like I like to listen to things that inspire and motivate me, right? And even when it comes to TV, like if I want to watch TV and I don't necessarily want to watch something educational, but I still don't want to be too lazy, like if I have stuff to do later on in the day, like I might watch something that's like a home design show because I know the house that I want to build and live in one day. So watching that show, it motivates me because I'm like, you know what? Let me get up and go do something, because if this is the house that I want, like It's not, the money is not going to make itself, okay? The house is not going to create itself. So I got to get up and do this work. So think little things like that. Like you have to just be mindful, right? And another way to be mindful is look at the people who you're around. Like if all your friends, they're not doing anything for themselves, if they are settling for mediocre lives, if they're just nothing that you aspire to be like, then of course, like it's going to be hard to find motivation. Like if you are trying to be fit and you have friends who are always inviting you out to eat fast food, you have friends who don't care about their own health, who, you know, their own fitness. Like if you are constantly around those people, then of course you're going to lack motivation. So you need to set out, be intentional, commit to figuring out how are you going to create the motivation in your life. Like what are you going to replace in your life right now that you know is not helping you? And that's just the sacrifice you have to make. And the way how our brains are wired is the things that you watch, the when you scroll on Instagram, the stuff that you laugh at, the TikToks, all of that stuff that you find entertaining, like that's cool, but it's making you addicted to that instant hit of dopamine. Like that is what's happening every time you come across something online that you like our attention spans are so low, and we get that little hit of dopamine. And when you can easily find that hit of dopamine just by doing things that make you feel lazy, like scrolling on Instagram, watching TV, when you get that instant satisfaction from doing those things, you get addicted to that. You get addicted to that instant reward, right? But something that you have to teach and tell yourself is that you have to prioritize long-term gratification. And what that is basically just your ability to hold off on the reward. For example, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to get used to long-term gratification, because when you start a business, it's going to take a minute before you see the results of all the work that you put in. So that's what it is. It's just your ability to know that it's going to come, right? But you have to just have the patience to know that the reward, like the discomfort that you might feel now, the boredom that you might feel, the pressure, you know, because when you're fighting against your brain, it's not going to be easy all the time. But though that those uncomfortable feelings, you have to know that you know they're temporary. And in the long run, everything that you're doing is going to get you to a place where you are never in this spot again. And you just have to make sure that you calculate that in your brain. Like, is me scrolling on Instagram not being productive worth me missing my workout today? Because I could have the body I want a year from now if I just consistently chose to do the thing that I said I was going to do. Okay, like you have to convince yourself of why that long-term gratification is going to be worth it. The next thing that I want you to be mindful of about your brain is I want you to be mindful about when you are in I don't know how energy. And to me, I don't know how energy is just when you become a victim of your circumstance. It's when you convince yourself that you really just don't know how. Like that, when you convince yourself that you're stuck somewhere when you aren't. When you have the ability, no matter where you are, no matter what life looks like, you have everything you need to get to another stage. You have everything you need to manifest exactly what will get you the life that you want. But you have to convince yourself of that first, right? So if you're an I don't know how energy, you might think things like, I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know how to be consistent. I don't know how to be productive. I don't know how I'm going to start that business. I just don't know where to start. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, if you keep telling yourself, I don't know how, then you definitely will never know how. Okay. Because how your brain works is it's always listening to you, and it's always feeding you the thing that you are asking it to feed to you. When you have a problem and you pose that problem to yourself, immediately your brain is diving into everything that you've ever fed it. It's diving into the memories that you have, and it's looking for a solution to the problem that you have. However, if you are saying, I don't know how, then your brain is like, you're right. We don't know how. Like, it's not going to try. It's not even going to try to find a solution. Like, you cannot look at the problem, focus on the problem, and then think the solution is going to reveal itself. That's just not how it works. Okay, that's not how it works. So what you need to do instead is you have to tell yourself, like, even if I don't know how right now, I will figure it out. And then you have to feed your brain what it needs to give you the answer that you need. Okay, so what does that mean? What are you going to feed your brain? If you tell me you don't know how to be productive, then you need to get on the internet, like get on YouTube University, like figure out how. Like the internet is at your disposal, Google is at your disposal. So if you want to get out of that I don't know how energy, just tell yourself you're going to figure it out, and then actually try to figure it out. Like, look for the people that can help you. Get a coach, get a friend. Like, pull yourself out of the I don't know how energy, because you cannot solve any problems from that mindset. Something that I've noticed a lot is like I can come up with a lot of the answers that I need. Like when I'm doubting myself, when something is coming up in my mind, the reason why it's easy for me to think of solutions is because I just don't believe that I don't know how. Like I stopped believing that a long time ago. Like I had a coach once that says like it's never a matter of like how, but it's a matter of who. Like who are you being? Because if you channel your energy into thinking like the person that you need to be in order to have the result that you want, the how will come. Like it will come eventually, right? But you can't be in the mindset of the person you currently are in that I don't know how energy, feeling like a victim, feeling stuck. Like you can't think like that. You have to start to embody the mindset of the person who has already figured it out. Because from that brain, from that perspective, your brain will go to work for you. Like your brain will help you and lead you. Like your intuition will lead you. The universe will guide you. Like you are not alone in this. So if you just give that effort, that little bit of effort where you try to just believe that it's not a matter of I don't know how, because you do know how. It's just a matter of what am I feeding my brain, right? And if you feel like you really just don't know how, then you need to start consuming things that will help you figure out how, like figure out what to do next, how to be more productive, how to be more disciplined, how to do the things you say you're going to do. Like you have to start consuming things like that. Like for instance, being on this YouTube channel is a really good way to start, right? Any other channels on YouTube who talk about similar topics as I do, there's podcasts, and then there's also a matter of like social media. Who are you following? You need to make sure that even the content you're consuming on your feed is helping you. Like when I go to my Instagram feed, there's going to be a ton of things motivating me to live the life I want to live. There's going to be people on there who I've networked with, who are doing the things that I want to do, or who are in the same boat as me, where we're all trying to figure things out. There's just the community that I have on there and the people that I follow on there is intentional, because I don't want to follow anybody that makes me feel weird or bad. I don't want to follow any accounts that's not serving me. And that's my choice, right? Because that is how I stay on top of the things that I want to do. The thing about it is you have to create an environment that works for you, that is going to be feeding you the information you need to do the things that you want, to create the life that you want. And this is how I have to do it for me. Like I have to be mindful of who I follow. When I wake up in the morning, I have to be mindful of what I listen to, right? I have to put on a video that's motivating me to get my day started. Like I need to have that content in me. I have to read books that motivate me. And maybe you don't need all that. Like maybe you don't have to do everything that I do, but if you aren't where you want to be, then I would say give it a try. Like I would say to try to replace the things that you're doing now with things that actually serve your brain. And even me, like I have this tug of war sometimes where I'm like, damn, I really, really want to watch The Real Housewives of Atlanta. However, I could also put on this audiobook that I've been meaning to finish. And sometimes it's hard for me to choose that instant gratification over that long-term gratification. But a rule that I have with myself is when I'm having that tug of war, like I'll just tell myself, okay, just put the thing on that would motivate you. Just put the audiobook on and listen to it for 5 minutes. And if after 5 minutes you're bored and you still don't want to listen to it, all right, we'll watch a TV. And 9 times out of 10, when I put it on, like the stuff that I listen to, it literally instantly puts me in like a whole different mindset, like a whole different flow where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to watch TV. Actually, I have work to do. Like I have content to create. I have things to do, right? And that is how powerful that process has been for me. Like, so that's why I'm telling y'all, like, be very, very mindful of what you're consuming, because that is about 70% of the reason why I'm able to be as disciplined as I am now and as consistent. And I'm still not even perfect at it. If you are just leaving it to chance, if you're not being intentional, if you are listening to just things that aren't serving your mind all the time, when you present a problem to your brain, it's gonna give you back I don't know how. If all you've been listening to is the latest celebrity gossip, like if all you've been watching is reality television, if all you've been watching is The Office, Modern Family, like I love those shows, right? But those shows, 9 times out of 10, are not going to help me solve my problems. They're not going to help me get to where I want to be. Your brain is going to go into what you've already learned to solve your problems for you. So you don't even have to be like, you don't even have to know exactly why you're going to need this information. Just try to learn things. Like when I really got into like spirituality and self-development, like I didn't really have a goal. I just knew that I wanted to be better, right? I knew that I wanted my mindset to be better. And all I did was I just learned things. I learned about myself. I learned about the ego, the soul, the universe. I was just learning a whole bunch of things. And now all those things that I've learned, now that I'm a coach, all those things are coming back up. When I need answers, when my clients need answers, like I fed myself, I fed my brain that information years ago. And now when I need the answers, I can rely on myself to provide them, right? And like I said, I already convinced myself a long time ago that it's never a matter of I don't know how. Like, if in the moment I feel like I am uncertain about something, I tell myself, okay, let's get into the mindset of the person who already has the solution. Like let's pray about it. Let's meditate on it. Like the last thing I do is allow myself to stay stuck in I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to be disciplined, or I don't know how to, like, no. It's just a matter of you learning how, and you learn how by feeding your brain the information it needs to give you the answers you need. Okay? That is it for today. I hope you learned something. I hope you took notes. And I really hope you guys just understand that it really, really matters what you are feeding your brain. Like, that is the information that you're going to need to create the life that you want. So be intentional. Be very, very intentional. I hope you bloom today, and I will see you on the next one. Oh, wait. Before I let you go, I have a few announcements. So, first of all, I am having a 30 days of consistent action challenge on Instagram. It's taking place in June. So, June 1st will be the first day, but you have this week and next week to sign up if you're interested. So, this challenge is literally just going to be for the ladies who want to take consistent action on their goals. So, if you've been struggling with discipline, if you've been struggling with consistency, if you've been struggling to do the things that you know you need to be doing to change your life, then this challenge is for you, okay? I am going to leave the link below for you to sign up if you're interested. You can read all the details there. But if you have any questions at all, you can go ahead and drop them under this video, and I will be sure to answer them. You can also find me on my Instagram. That is where I usually am. My Instagram is juditha.alex. So it's my first name dot Alex, and that is my Instagram. Just message me if you have any questions about the challenge. And my second announcement is, I don't know if I mentioned it already on this channel, but I have a podcast. So if you have enjoyed my YouTube videos, but you would also love to have me on podcast, go ahead and add my podcast. It is called The Big Bloom. It's Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find me on there. But go ahead and follow the show so that you can also listen to these episodes on there as well. And that is it. So you guys have a good day. See you on the next video.